How you doing, Ishreem? So today we are going to talk about Passover, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just retell the story. And there are a few songs that we sing during Passover, and we're going to learn those today. So while I'm telling the story, I'm also going to be singing the songs too. Okay, so here we go. So a long time ago, outside of Egypt, by the River Nile plays a big part of this. So there was a baby that was placed in a basket, and that baby was named Moses. And in order for Moses, for his family to save his life, they had to put him in a basket by himself and allow him to float down the River Nile. Okay, so while he was floating down the River Nile, the basket finally like stops on the side of the river, and you know, thank God that someone actually found baby Moses, right? And the person that did find baby Moses was a princess. So and here's a song that we usually sing during Passover, and it's called "Where Is Baby Moses." Here we go. We're ready, and I'm just gonna sing a short part of it. So here we go. Where is baby Moses, Moses, Moses? Where is baby Moses? In the river now. He's floating in a basket, a basket, a basket. He's floating in a basket in the river Nile. The princess, she was swimming, swimming, swimming. The princess, she was swimming in the river now. She finds the baby Moses, Moses, Moses. She finds the baby Moses by the river now. So at this time, she goes and picks up baby Moses, and she's like, I need to save this baby. So she takes the baby to the palace. She takes the baby to the palace, the palace, the palace. She takes him to the palace by the river Nile. So there, baby Moses grows up in the palace, right? And so baby Moses grows up not knowing that he is not a family member, right? He thought he was born within the family, so he thought his brothers were his brothers and sisters were his sisters. So there he grows up and stuff like that, right? So then something happens to Moses where he has to leave Egypt. He just has to run away, right? So he leaves and he goes out into the desert, and he stays there for a long period of time, right? And so when he gets a lot older, God calls upon him with this. He sees this burning bush, and the voice of God comes out, and he says, "But Moses, you need to return back to Egypt and free my people, free your people." Because by that time, Moses finally realized, like, hey man, I'm Jewish too. I got to go save them from Pharaoh, right? Because Pharaoh, of course, was not a nice person, right? So because at that time the Jewish people were being treated really badly by Pharaoh, right? So they were used as slaves. They weren't allowed to. They were working all the time. They weren't allowed to sometimes not eat, not drink water. They would work from sunset to sundown nonstop. And so God did not like that, because he felt that the Jewish people played a big, important role in their lives, that they shouldn't be doing that, right? Because it's God's people. So Pharaoh goes and he's like, I guess I need to go back to Egypt and talk to Pharaoh and tell Pharaoh that he needs to let them go. So Pharaoh goes back over to Egypt, and he walks in and he tells, hey, I'm Moses. And they're like, oh man, where you been, Moses? You just disappeared, and now you're coming back. What do you want? So I need to speak with Pharaoh. Goes up to Pharaoh and tells Pharaoh, what you're doing to the Jewish people, you need to let them go. All right? And Pharaoh, what does Pharaoh say? No, no, no. I'm not going to let them go. Why should I let them go? They work for me. And here's a little song that goes like this. Oh, listen, hey Pharaoh, let my people go. They will not go away. Hey Pharaoh, what do you say? No, no, no. I will not let them go. So Pharaoh does not let them go, right? So Pharaoh goes, Moses goes, you know what? If you don't let them go, then bad things are going to start happening to Egypt, right? So Pharaoh goes, hey, I'm not afraid of all that. So one morning, Pharaoh woke up from his bed, and there were frogs everywhere. One morning when Pharaoh woke up from his bed, there were frogs on his bed and frogs on his head, frogs on his nose and frogs on his toes. Frogs here, frogs there, frogs were jumping everywhere. And again Moses goes and asks him, "Hey Pharaoh, you need to let my people go." And Pharaoh said, "No, no, no." So more bad things started happening, right? He turned the water into blood. They weren't able to drink the water. He turned the bunch of locusts, bunch of bugs, insects invaded the Egypt, and nothing. He even turned the night. He turned everything. There was no sun, there was no light, so everything became pitch dark, and they weren't able to see anything. So this constant just happened like for a few days and stuff like that, and then, well, not a few days, but it took a while for all the the plagues to hit and stuff like that. And Pharaoh finally said, "You know what? Fine, fine. Let them go. I'll let them go." So Moses was okay, fine. So we went. So Moses went and got all the people and said, "You know what? Just grab whatever you can. Do not take anything before Pharaoh changes his mind." Right? So boom, they're gone. So he takes all his the Jewish people take all their as much as they can pack or carry, and they just start walking. They didn't even have time to make bread, right? So what they did is that they made this non-rising bread called matzah, right? So here's a song that we're gonna sing, and it's called "Make a Matzah Flat, Flat, Flat." Make a matzah flat, flat, flat. Do not make it fat, fat, fat. Make a matzah pat, pat, pat. Make a matzah just like that. So they're off they go, and they get to the Red Sea, and they camp out, and they said, "All right, we're free." And they sing their freedom song, right? And they're all excited, and they think that nothing else is gonna happen, and they're enjoying life. And all of a sudden, they look and they see Pharaoh's army, because guess what? Pharaoh changed his mind, right? And they looked to the people and said, "Moses, we're trapped. We can't get nowhere. We can't get across the Red Sea. How are we going to get across? What can you do?" And they were upset at God, and God, you brought us this far. And some even wanted to return and say, "You know what? I'm gonna turn myself in and go back to Israel, because there we had a home." And they were just thinking all this negative. But Moses said, "You know what? God is going to take care of you guys, because you are His people." So right before Pharaoh's army gets to them, they walk to he tells them, walk to the edge of the sea, and you're gonna see a miracle happen. So Moses grabs his staff, he sticks it in the ground. Well, of course, he asks God, "God, show me how to use this thing and try to save these people." So Moses jabs the staff into the ground, and the Red Sea parts. Wow, what a miracle, right? Awesome, right? So the Red Sea parts, and and there's walls of water on both sides, and you can see the fish, and so he's like, "Hey, we need to get across from here." So they get across, and all of a sudden, the water, the Pharaoh's army tries to get through, and the water comes down on them, and a lot of them drown, and the water takes them away, and so the people, the Jewish people, are free, and God kept His promise, Moses, and that's why we celebrate Passover. And I hope you guys enjoy the story. I'm gonna be reading some books this week, so thank you, and see you.